Namaste. Namaste everybody. Welcome to ENRI Yoga Environment Neuroscience Research Institute. Here every Sunday we come together at 8 o'clock to chant Srimad Bhagavad Gita and learn, understand, imbibe and manifest the meaning of Srimad Bhagavad Gita in our lives. Today we are going to start chapter number 15, that is Purushottam Yoga. As we all know, Srimad Bhagavad Gita started when Arjun, while doing the observation of the armies on both the sides, that is Sena Nirikshan, at that time he got infested with moha and he became coward. He developed some kind of depression, that is Vishada. That was Arjuna Vishada. Following which Bhagavan Sri Krishna introduced him towards Kshatriya Dharma, towards the basic understanding of what life is in the form of Samkhya Yoga. Then he explained him about Karma Yoga, about what is the real karma. Then he manifested Gnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga in the form of 4th chapter. And then he explained how a person can be free from the karma and while at the same time can perform karma. Then Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Then he explained about Atma Sanyam Yoga, that is Dhyana Yoga, that is 6th chapter. Then he explained about Gnana Vijnana Yoga. We all have gone through all these chapters. These all chapters are available on internet on this ENRI channel. Then we went on to Akshara Brahma Yoga, followed by Raja Vidya Raja Guhya Yoga, followed by Vibhuti Yoga, followed by Vishwarupa Darshan Yoga. Interesting discussions, interesting questions, interesting answers, explanations. We kept on happening, including the Vishwarupa Darshana, then followed by Bhakti Yoga, then followed by Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, then Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Now we are learning and we are going to learn Purushottam Yoga. So in the last chapter, we understood Prakriti and Purusha, similar to that in what we call it as Sankhya Yoga, or similar to that in Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga. Then we understood about 3 gunas of the Prakriti, that is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. And then through that, how Gunatita can achieve the Bhagwan, that is Bhagavad Prapti, how it can be done. Now, how Bhagavad Prapti can be done by understanding Purushottam, that we are going to learn. So today's chapter, that is Pancha Adhyaya, is about Purushottam Yoga, Purushottam. So now I welcome Godamani ji, who wants to chant initial 10 shlokas. Godamani ji, most welcome. Namaste. Namaste, please.
Namaste, Doctor. Namaste, all ENRI Bandhus. Can I start, Doctor?
Yeah, please.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Atha Panchadashodhyayaha. Purushottama Yogaha. Shri Bhagavanuvacha. Urdhva Moola Madashakam. Ashvattam Prahuravyayam. Chandamsi yasya pannani yastam vedasa vedavit ataschodvam prasritastasya shaka guna pravriddha vishaya pravalaha atascha mulyananusantani karmanubandhini manushya na rupamasyeha tatopalabhyate nanto na chardir na cha sampratishta ashvattamenam suvirudamulam astanga shastrena dridena chitva tatah padam tatparimargitavyam yasmin gata na nivartanti bhuyaha tameva chadyam purusham prapadye yata pravrittihi prasrita purani Nirmana jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandvair vimukta sukha dukkha sanyaihi गच्छन्त्यमूढा पदमव्ययं तत् न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शाशाङ्को न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनःषष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यदवाप्नोति यच्चाप्युता कृतमीश्वरः क्रमतीश्वरः गृहीत्वैतानि संयान्ति वायुर्गन्धानि वाशयात् श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयानुपसेवते उत्क्रामन्तं सितं वापि भुञ्जानां वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Godamani ji, for such a beautiful rendering of initial 10 shlokas of Purushottam Yoga. Now I invite first person. That is, who is that person? First person is
Vedantam Sundaram.
Vedantam Sundarji. You are most welcome to initiate this chapter. Vedantam Sundarji.
Am I audible, Doctor?
Yeah.
Namaste all.
Namaste.
Om Sri Paramatmane Namaha. Adha Panchadasamodhyayah Purushottama Yogaha Sri Bhagavanuvacha Urdhvamula Madasyakam Asvettam Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Savedavit. Urdhvamulam, roots above, Adhyashakam, branches below, Ashwetham, it is Ashwetha tree, Prahuhu is said, Avyayam, imperishable, Chandamsi, Vedas, Yasya, of whose, Parnani, leaves, Yaha, who, Tam, that, Veda, knows, Sahe, he, Vedavit, Vedas. Sri Bhagavan said, with roots above and branches below, the Ashwetha tree is said to be imperishable, with the Vedas as its leaves. He who knows this, knows the Vedas. Sri Krishna begins the 15th chapter describing an unusual sort of tree. It is Urdhvamulam Adhyashakam. It is upside down with roots above and branches below. It is not as unusual as it sounds because we encounter several trees that are inverted in our lives. A family tree, the map of an organization with the CEO on top, a decision tree in management sciences, all of these trees are upside down with their root on top and branches below. Such inverted trees have some interesting characteristics. The farther away one goes from the root, the greater is the loss of the substance or the essence. A junior employee has far less power than the CEO in an organization chart, for instance. Also, these trees are never static. They keep changing. Hence, the tree described in this illustration is called Ashwetha, which means not lasting for long. This is also the name of the tree known as Ficus religiosa, or the people tree in India. Now, let us examine the metaphors used in this illustration. The root of this tree is Ishvara, the Saguna Brahman, the eternal essence with form. Its branches have evolved from Ishvara and are nothing but the hardening of Prakriti, the hardening of the three gunas due to their permutations and combinations. The process of the creation of the universe has been explained in detail in prior chapters. It is similar to a tender, supple sapling hardening into a robust tree as it grows over time. It is termed as Avyayam or imperishable because it is permanent after its reality has been ascertained, like the illusion of the blue sky. Even when we come to know that the sky is not really blue, but just looks that way, we still perceive the illusion. In any complex system, there are rules that tell how, what to do and what not to do. The Vedas are the rules of this universe and are metaphorically represented as the leaves of the Ashwatha tree. Just like there are rules on how to get promoted in a corporation, there are rules in the Vedas that gives us instructions on how to act in life and how not to commit sins or errors. They are the excuse me. They are the storehouse of knowledge and actions needed to thrive in this world. One who knows the functioning of the universe in this manner, one who knows how to get to the source, which is Ishvara, needs to know nothing else. We now come to the fundamental question, why has Sri Krishna started talking about this tree now? It is to cultivate dispassion or vairagya in us. Even a tinge of attachment to the world can derail our spiritual progress. Over the next few shlokas, we will learn more about this tree so that we can understand our entanglement in it and consequently then learn how to release ourselves from it through dispassion. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Namaste. Thank you very much, Vedantam ji. But here I would like to add something. What do you think is the role of leaves in the tree?
Leaves are like Vedas, sir. It gives pleasure to
No,
the eye.
we will not talk about Vedas. We are just talking about the tree and the leaves.
Photosynthesis, expressions of the sea, the life.
Yes. What do the leaves do? They create food through photosynthesis. They nourish the tree. Correct? They are responsible for the nourishment of the tree. So
Yes,
whatever spiritual progress we have to do, it is by following the principles mentioned in the Vedas and Upanishads. The nourishment of our spiritual journey is going to happen through our study of scriptures. What are we studying here? Gita Upanishad. So we are doing the photosynthesis by nourishing this, our spiritual journey. Study of Vedas Upanishads is nourishing our spiritual journey. Okay, with that understanding, we'll move next.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you. Next one, second one, who is there? Jai.
Jai.
Jai, namaste. Jai, are you there? Jai? I don't think Jai is there. Okay. Anybody wants to take up this shloka? If not, then I will take. Namaste. Nobody? Okay. So I am going to chant this shloka and I will try to explain whatever I have understood till now in this shloka. Adhaschordhvam prasrutastyasya shakha guna pravruddha vishaya pravalaha adhascha mulanyanusantatani karmanubandhini manushya-loke. So, as Bhagavan Shri Krishna is saying, adhascha. Adha means down. Urdhva. Urdhva means up. Prasruta. Prasruta means extended or spread around. Tasya means that. Shakha. Shakha means branches. Guna. Guna means we know that there are three gunas. That is Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. Pravruddha. Pravruddha means here Vruddhi. What is Vruddhi? Nourishing. We were talking about nourishing, no? Vishaya. Vishaya means object of the senses. Pravalaha means small buds will be there, no, of the branches. When we look at any plant or look at any tree, we will see there will be green color, very beautiful. It will be pointing thing which will be coming out. Initially, it will look very small, but at the same time, it will start, and when it starts, it will become a huge branch within few months, and you can see it. It looks very beautiful. Once again, adha means down. Adascha, mulanya. Mula means roots. Anusantatani. Anusantatani means they keep on. Santati means growing. Karma means actions. Anubandhani. Anubandhani means are bounding us or are binding us in this world of humans. Okay. So here, as we see that these branches, no, these branches are growing. They are growing and they are nourishing. And these branches are like Indriya. Indriya means Vishaya. Vishaya, we can translate it into Indriyas. And what are the Indriyas? Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, and Gandha. These are the functions which happen through our tongue, through our skin, through our eyes, through our smell, means through our nose, and through our ears. Okay. So that is how these things will help us to understand the Vedas and Upanishads also. But at the same time, what is going to happen? We are going to get bound in the karmas, because we will develop some kind of moha maya that will happen around us, and we will develop kama, krodha, mada, moha, lobha, matsarya because of the inputs from these shakhas, these branches of trigunas. Okay, so this is very basic understanding of this sansara vruksha, which we call it as, which is growing downwards and it has its roots spread upwards. Okay, with that understanding, we will move on to the next shloka. Next shloka, third one.
I am chanting, sir. Namaste, sir.
Namaste, namaste.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Purushottama Yoga. Shloka 3 and 4. Na rupamatsyeha tatopalabhyate nanto na chadir na cha sampratishta ashwatthamenam suvirudhamula asanka shastrena dridhena chitva tadaparam patam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartandi bhuyah tameva chadhyam purusham prapadhye yata pravartim prasruta purani. The basic translation goes like this. The real form of this Ashwatha tree is not perceived in this world, neither its beginning, nor its ends, nor its continued existence. But this deep-rooted Ashwatha tree must be cut down with their strong acts of detachment. Then one must search out the base of the tree, which is the Supreme Lord, from whom streamed forth the activity of the entire universe a long time ago. Upon taking the refuge in him, one will not return to this world again. Silkworm gets entangled as in the cocoon spun by itself. Similarly, the worldly man gets entangled in the web of his own desires and wishes, living. But when silkworm develops it into a butterfly, it breaks open the nest or the mesh and comes out to enjoy the light and the air outside. Similarly, when the man in bondage cuts apart the attachment to the Maya, he is able to behold the Brahman. This is a small gist of this meaning of these two shlokas. Om Shri Krishnarpanamastu.
Thank you very much, Vijay Kumarji. So this Shastra, no? This Shastra is Asanga Shastra. Asanga Shastra means Asanga means Vairagya. If you want to use a contemporary word, then Asanga is Vairagya. So what is Sanga? What Sanga means? Sanga means attachment. So attachment happens through ego, through unnecessary desires. That is, and then that mamata also will develop, no, and moha.
Sympathy and moha.
So all these things will lead to this growth of these branches and roots and all these things, and then through that we will be all suffering. So what we have to do? Do you want to become a bhogi or do you want to become a yogi? Or there is another one, bhogi will ultimately become a rogi. So what do you want to do? If you want to become a yogi, then you have to lift the axe of vairagya, and then you have to cut. And then when you cut, what will happen? We will be able to achieve that druda vairagya. That druda vairagya will have, with that we will be able to achieve the Brahman. Okay. So now we will move on to the next one.
Namaste, Doctor.
Namaste, please. Namaste, Godamani ji, please continue.
Yes, Doctor. Namaste, all Henry Bandhus. This is 5th shloka, 15th chapter, Purushottam Yoga, or the Yoga of Supreme Divine Personality. In the previous chapter, Lord Krishna had enlightened that by transcending the effects of the three gunas, one can achieve the divine goal. In this chapter, he explains the material world graphically so that one can understand its nature and develop detachment from it. Now I'm going to chant the shloka. Nirmana moha jita sangha doshaha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha dvandvairvimuktaha sukha dukkha sangnaihi gacchantya mooda padamavyayam tat. Those wise men who are free from pride and delusion, who have conquered the evil of attachment and are constantly abiding in God, whose cravings have altogether ceased, and who are completely immune from all pairs of opposites, going by the names of pleasure and pain, attain that supreme immortal state. Summary. The word mana, forming part of the compound adjective nirmana mohaha in this verse, signifies honor, fame, and prestige, while moha denotes indiscretion, error, delusion, and other tamasic propensities. Therefore, nirmana mohaha are those who do not entertain the least idea of their own superiority in point of birth, merits, wealth, power, and learning, etc., and one who have risen above honor, fame, and prestige, as well as above tamasic propensities like indiscretion, and delusion, etc. Jita Sangha dosha are those who no longer entertain the least attachment for the enjoyments of this world and the next, those whose mind remains unexcited even in the midst of worldly pleasures. The word Adhyatma, forming part of the compound adjective Adhyatma Nityaha in this verse, stands for the essential character of the God. Therefore, Adhyatma Nityaha are those who stand eternally united with God, who are never disunited from Him even for a moment, and whose mood is ever unshakable. The word kama, forming part of the compound adjective vinivritta kama, covers all kinds of desires of various gradations, such as craving, thirst, want, latent desire, and longing, etc., all of which have delicate shades of meaning. Therefore, Vinivritta Kama are those who have no desire of any kind and in any of these forms lurking in their mind. Pairs of opposites such as heat and cold, agreeable and disagreeable, honor and ignominy, praise and censure, etc., have been given the names of joy and sorrow in as much as they are conducive to joy and sorrow. He who transcends these, that is to say, he who is not in the least susceptible to morbid feelings such as attraction and aversion, joy and grief, etc., in the presence or absence of any of these contraries, is said to be completely immune from the pairs of opposites going by the names of joy and sorrow. The word Amudaha refers to those illuminated saints who are entirely free from delusion or ignorance. It is this word which stands in the relation of a substantive to all compound adjectives preceding it. The supreme immortal state referred to in this verse is the same as the Almighty and all supporting God. Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanam. Thank you, Doctor. Hello?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Godamani ji.
Thank you, Doctor.
Just for the for you to have one more variation of chanting this shloka, I'm going to just chant it once again, just for you to have one more variation. You can refer to this once again. Okay. Nirmana moha jita sanga dosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्तः सुखदुःखसंज्ञै गच्छन्त्यमूढः पदमव्ययं तत्. So you can try this, and yes, you have explained very beautifully. A lot of confusion, lot of duality, that is dvandva, and a lot of attachment we all have. But when one person comes out of that mana, apamana, and moha, and having that attachment towards company, towards having the desires, and towards dualities of the existence, those kind of people who come beyond that, they are going to achieve the highest level. Okay.
Thank you, Doctor.
Avyayam means
Thank you.
eternal. Avyayam means eternal. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Next one. Sixth one is, I think, Padmaji. I think she's stuck in traffic. Is she there? If she is there, then we will request her to chant. But if she is not there, then we will have to. I think she is there or not. Padmaji. Padmaji, namaste. Okay, we will play. She has sent a recording. She has been graceful enough to send a recording. Please.
Mr. Doctor, namaste everyone. Chapter 15, Shloka number 6. Na tadhayate suryo, na shashanko pavaka, yadgadvana nivartante, taddhama paramama. Fire or electricity also cannot eliminate this abode. Those divine who reach this abode will never return to this material world. Here, abode refers to the spiritual world, the abode of Sri Krishna, which is already illuminated with divinity, can no longer.
Are you able to hear?
No, doctor.
Some distortions are there.
On knowledge is the illuminate. Knowledge can illuminate everything, not the external things like electricity, sun, or moon, or anything. The Shloka 6 to 11 explains the bondage and
Did you hear something or not?
Distortion is there. Not very clear.
Not very clear, no?
Not clear.
Okay, anyhow. न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशांको न पावकः यद्गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमं मम. Tadhama paramam mama means my param dham. If you remember, this param dham was there in chapter number 8 also. Okay, in chapter number 8, shloka number 21, Bhagavan Sri Krishna has explained Avyakto-kshara ityuktam tamahu paramam gatim yam prapya na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. So
Param Dhama
we are talking about something which is akshara. We are talking about something which is akshara. Akshara means which is not going to decay, which is not going to get destroyed. And avyakta. Avyakta means which cannot be expressed. It can only be experienced. That kind of thing can happen by people who have developed great qualities, and those qualities are getting rid of the moha maya. And this param dham here Bhagavan Sri Krishna has explained. You see here Bhagavan Sri Krishna has talked about Surya or Chandra or Agni. So he is talking about the visible sources of light, visible sources of fire, visible sources of energy. Through that also the param dham cannot be enlightened or warmed. That kind of thing we are talking about. Okay, and who reaches there? The people who have achieved param dhama. Who are the people who have achieved param dhama? Who have developed that avyakta bhava of param gati through the practice of yoga. Okay, with that now we will move on to the 7th one.
नमस्ते मोहन जी.
Namaste Gautam. Please.
सभी अन्य बंधुओं को शुभ संध्या. तो शुरू करता हूँ आज का श्लोक. ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः. अथ श्रीमद् भगवद गीता अथ पंचदश अध्यायः सप्तम श्लोक. श्री भगवान् उवाच ममे वंश जीवलोके जीवभूत सनातनः मनः षष्ठानि इंद्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति. इस श्लोक का अर्थ इस तरह है कि इस देह में यह जीवात्मा मेरा ही सनातन अंश है, यानी कि इस परम ब्रह्म का अंश प्रकृति के साथ मिलकर ही एक एक जीव का सृष्टि हुआ है, और वही इन प्रकृति में स्थित मन और पांचों इंद्रियों को आकर्षण करता है. इस श्लोक का व्याख्या मामे वांश जीवलोके जीवभूत सनातनः. तो जिनके साथ जीव की तात्विक अथवा स्वरूप की एकता नहीं है, ऐसे प्रकृति और प्रकृति के कर्म मात्र का नाम लोक है. 3 लोक 14 भुवनों में जीव जितनी योनियों में शरीर धारण करता है, उन संपूर्ण लोकों तथा योनियों को जीवलोके पद के अंतर्गत समझना चाहिए. आत्मा परमात्मा का अंश है, परंतु प्रकृति के कार्य शरीर इंद्रिया प्राण मन आदि के साथ अपनी एकता मानकर वह जीव हुआ है. जीवभूतः उसका यह जीवपना बनावटी है, वास्तविक नहीं. नाटक में कोई पात्र बनने की तरह ही यह आत्मा जीवलोक में जीव बनता है. ममे वांशः भगवान यह वास्तविकता प्रकट करते हैं कि जीव केवल मेरा ही अंश है, इसमें प्रकृति का किंचित मात्र भी अंश नहीं है. जैसे सिंह का बच्चा भेड़ों में मिलकर अपने को भेड़ मान ले, ऐसे ही जीव शरीर आदि जड़ पदार्थों के साथ मिलकर अपने असली चेतन स्वरूप को भूल जाता है। अतः इस भूल को मिटाकर उसे अपने को सदा सर्वदा चेतन स्वरूप ही अनुभव करना चाहिए। सिंह का बच्चा भेड़ों के साथ मिलकर भी भेड़ नहीं हो जाता। जैसे कोई दूसरा सिंह आकर उसे बोध करा दे कि देख, तेरी और मेरी आकृति, स्वभाव, जाति, गर्जना आदि सब एक समान है, अतः निश्चित रूप से तू भेड़ नहीं प्रत्युत तो मेरे जैसा ही सिंह है। ऐसे ही भगवान यहाँ मम एवं पदों से जीव को बोध कराते हैं कि जीव तू मेरा अंश है, प्रकृति के साथ तेरा संबंध कभी हुआ नहीं, है नहीं, होगा नहीं और हो सकता भी नहीं। अहमता और ममता दोनों में साधक की जैसी मान्यता होती है, उसके अनुसार उसका भाव तथा क्रिया भी स्वतः होती है। साधक की अहमता मतलब मतलब है मैंपन। अहमता यह होनी चाहिए कि मैं भगवान का हूँ, और ममता यानी समझना चाहिए मेरापन। ममता यह होनी चाहिए कि भगवान ही मेरे है, उसी के अनुसार हमारा जीवन बनता है। मैं ब्राह्मण हूँ, मैं साधु हूँ, मैं पिता हूँ, मैं डॉक्टर हूँ, मैं पुलिस हूँ, ऐसा यह सब केवल कर्तव्य पालन के है, यह रहेगा नहीं। परंतु मैं भगवान का हूँ, ये सदा रहने वाला है। ये शरीर, मन, बुद्धि, इंद्रिया, धन, जमीन, मकान, ये सब पदार्थ जिन्हें हम भूल से अपना मान रहे हैं, वे कभी भी ऐसा नहीं कहते कि तुम मेरा हो, पर संपूर्ण सृष्टि के रचयिता परमात्मा स्पष्ट घोषणा करते हैं कि जीव मेरा ही है। विचार करना चाहिए कि शरीर आदि पदार्थों को हम अपने साथ लाए नहीं, इच्छानुसार इसमें परिवर्तन कर सकते नहीं, उनको अपने साथ ले जा सकते नहीं, फिर भी उनकी अपना मानते हैं। यह हमारी कितनी बड़ी भूल है। बचपन में हमारी मन, बुद्धि, इंद्रिय जैसा था, अब ऐसा है नहीं, सबके सब बदल गए हैं। फिर भी हम मैं जो बचपन में था अभी भी वही हूँ ऐसा मानते हैं। कारण यही हुआ कि शरीर आदि का परिवर्तन होने पर भी हमारा परिवर्तन नहीं हुआ। साधकों से भूल यही होती है कि वे अपने आप को भगवान में लगाने के बजाय अपने मन बुद्धि को भगवान में लगाने की कोशिश करते हैं। मैं भगवान का हूँ, यह वास्तविकता को भूलकर मैं ब्राह्मण हूँ, साधु हूँ, टीचर हूँ, डॉक्टर हूँ आदि मानते हैं और मन बुद्धि को भगवान में लगाते रहते हैं। तो यह दुविधा कभी मिटेगा नहीं, और बहुत प्रयत्न करने पर भी मन बुद्धि जैसे भगवान में लगना चाहिए ऐसा लगेगा नहीं। गोस्वामी तुलसीदास जी भी कहते हैं कि पहले भगवान का होकर फिर नाम जप अधिक साधन करे, तो उनके जन्मों की बिगड़ी हुई स्थिति आज अभी सुधर सकती है। बिगड़ी जन्म अनेक की सुधरे अब ही आजू, हो ही राम को नाम जपो तुलसी अजी कुसुमाजू। यहाँ एक नाटक का उदाहरण है। जैसे किसी नाटक में कोई व्यक्ति अपने आप को कहता है मैं रावण का पुत्र मेघनाथ हूँ, लेकिन वो अंदर से ये कभी नहीं सोचता है कि ये तो नाटक का पाठ है, मैं तो एक इंसान हूँ, ऐसे सोचता है। ऐसे ही हम लोगों को भी अंदर से ये सोचना चाहिए कि हम लोग भगवान का अंश है और हम लोग इस नाट्य मंच रूपी संसार में अपना पार्ट प्ले कर रहे हैं, ऐसा बोल रहे हैं। जीव सदा से ही भगवान का है, सनातन है। भगवान ने ना तो कभी जीव को त्याग किया है, ना उससे विमुख ही हुए है। जीव कभी भगवान का त्याग नहीं कर सकता। भगवान से मिली स्वतंत्रता का दुरुपयोग करके वह भगवान से विमुख हुआ है। जब मनुष्य भगवान की आज्ञानुसार अपने कर्तव्य का पालन करता है, तब वे उसकी इतनी उन्नति कर देते हैं कि जीवन सफल हो जाता है और जन्म मरण बंधन सदा के लिए मिट जाता है। जब मनुष्य भूल से कोई निषिद्ध आचरण कर बैठता है, तब वे जो है भगवान दुखों को भेजकर उसको चेताते हैं, पुराने पापों को भुगता कर उसको शुद्ध करते हैं और नए पापों में प्रवृत्ति से रोकता है। जीव कहीं भी क्यों ना हो, नरक में हो या स्वर्ग में हो, मनुष्य योनि में हो या पशु योनियों में हो, भगवान उसकी अपना ही अंश मानते हैं, उसको अपना ही अंश मानते हैं। ये उनकी कितनी अहेतुक कृपा है, उदारता और महत्व है। जीव के पतन को देखकर भगवान दुखी होकर कहता है कि मेरे पास आने का उसका पूरा अधिकार था, पर वह मेरे को प्राप्त किए बिना नरक में जा रहा है। मनुष्य चाहे किसी भी परिस्थिति में क्यों ना हो, भगवान उसे स्थिर नहीं रहने देते, उसे अपने ओर खींचता ही रहता है। जब हमारी सामान्य स्थिति में कुछ भी परिवर्तन ही कुछ जब हमारी सामान्य परिस्थिति स्थिति में कुछ भी परिवर्तन हो, तब यह मानना चाहिए कि भगवान हमें विशेष रूप से याद करके नए परिस्थिति पैदा कर रहे हैं और हमें अपने ओर खींच रहे हैं। जीव जितना ही नाशवान पदार्थों के महत्व देता है, उतना ही वो पतन की तरफ जाता है, और अविनाशी परमात्मा को महत्व देता है, उतना ही वो ऊंचा उठता है, कारण कि जीव परमात्मा का ही अंश है। मनः षष्ठानि इंद्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति ही। भगवान ने जैसे इस श्लोक के पूर्वार्ध में जीव को अपने में स्थित ना कहकर उसको अपना अंश बताया है, ऐसे ही इसके उत्तरार्ध में मन तथा इंद्रियों को प्रकृति का अंश ना कहकर उनको प्रकृति में स्थित बताया है। तात्पर्य यह है कि भगवान का अंश जीव सदा भगवान में ही स्थित है, और प्रकृति में स्थित मन तथा इंद्रिया प्रकृति के ही अंश है। मन और इंद्रियों को अपना मानना, उनसे अपना संबंध बनाना ही उनको आकर्षित करना है। जैसे शरीर, इंद्रिया, मन, बुद्धि प्रकृति का अंश होने से कभी प्रकृति से पृथक नहीं होते, ऐसे ही जीव भी मेरा अंश होने से मेरे से कभी पृथक होते नहीं। अतः साधक को चाहिए कि वह शरीर, इंद्रिया, मन, बुद्धि को संसार में अर्पण कर दे और अपने आप को भगवान में अर्पण कर दे। अहम भक्त पराधीन हर्षतंत्र इव द्विज साधुर विग्रहस्थ हृदय भक्तेर भक्त जनप्रिय। हे द्विजों, मैं भक्तों के पराधीन हूँ, स्वतंत्र नहीं। भक्तजन मेरे को अत्यंत प्यारे है, मेरे हृदय पर उनका पूर्ण अधिकार है। कोई भी सांसारिक व्यक्ति, पदार्थ या क्या हमें इतनी बड़ाई दे सकता है? अगर मनुष्य इन शरीर, इंद्रिया, मन आदि सांसारिक पदार्थों का दास ना बने तो वह भगवान का भी इष्ट बन जाए। जिन्होंने भगवान को प्राप्त कर लिया है उनको भगवान अपना प्रिय कहते हैं, परंतु जिन्होंने भगवान को प्राप्त करने चाहते हैं उन साधकों को तो वो अपना अत्यंत प्रिय कहते हैं। मनुष्य के लिए यही उत्तम होगा कि शरीर को संसार पर छोड़ दे और जैसे कि संसार की जैसे मर्जी हो वैसे ही रखे, और अपने को परमात्मा पर छोड़ दे, जैसे परमात्मा की मर्जी हो वैसे ही रखे। संसार की चीज संसार को दे दे और परमात्मा की चीज परमात्मा को दे दे, यह ईमानदारी है। इस ईमानदारी का नाम ही तो मुक्ति है। जिसकी चीज उसको ना दे, संसार की चीज भी ले ले और परमात्मा की चीज भी ले ले, यह तो बेईमानी है। अपने आप को सर्वथा भगवान के अर्पित कर दे और भगवान से कह दे कि हे नाथ, आप मेरे को पृथ्वी पर रखे या स्वर्ग में अथवा नरक में रखे, बालक रखे या जवान रखे, अपमानित रखे या सम्मानित रखे, सुखी रखे या दुखी रखे, जैसी परिस्थिति में रखना चाहे वैसी रखे, पर मैं आपको भूलूं नहीं। इसलिए साधक को चाहिए कि वो या तो शरीर को संसार के अर्पण कर दे, जो कर्मयोग है, और चाहे अपने को शरीर संसार से सर्वथा अलग कर ले, जो ज्ञान योग है, और चाहे अपने को भगवान के अर्पण कर दे, जो भक्ति योग है। इन तीनों में से कोई भी साधन अपना ले, तीनों का फल एक ही होगा। जय श्री कृष्ण। धन्यवाद। श्री कृष्ण अर्पणमस्तु।
गौतम भैया,
हाँ,
कौन सा किताब से पढ़ते हो भैया?
राम सुखदास, स्वामी राम सुखदास।
राम सुखदास जी का?
हाँ,
अच्छा, ठीक है, वेरी गुड। ओके, नेक्स्ट वन।
धन्यवाद।
8th one, हाँ, 8th one. Who is the 8th?
Sir, good evening, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, please, please.
Sir, good evening, all Henry Bandhus. I am chanting Shloka number 8 of Purushottam Yoga. Shariram yadavapnoti Yacha Putkramatishvaraha Gruhitvaitani Samyati Vayur Gandha Nivashayat. As the air carries fragrance from place to place, so does the embodied soul carry the mind and senses with it. When it leaves an old body and enters a new one. Here, Sri Krishna has given the example of the breeze to explain the process of transmigration of a soul from one body into another. Similar to the breeze, which carries with it the fragrances of the flowers, upon death of the grass body, the soul carries with it the subtle and the casual bodies. These include the senses and the mind. Even when the material body dies, the soul continues to carry the mind along with the experiences of his past life from one former body into the new one. That explicates why people who are born blind can still dream, probably based on their experiences from the past lives. Dreams are considered to be a visual representation of what we see or think during the waking hours. It might be in a distorted or rambled form, which gets connected in our mind when we sleep. For example, someone saw a bird flying and thought, how wonderful will it be to fly like a bird? Sometimes later, he dreams that he is flying in his human body with his human body itself. Yet a blind person who does not see anything from birth dreams. This can only be due to all the impressions that are stored in the subconscious mind, which it carries with it from the past lives. In the next verse, Sri Krishna explains what the soul does with the mind and the senses it takes with it when it departs from its present form. Harihi Om Tatsat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you very much. Beautiful example, Ravi Shankar ji. And yes, there are many things which are not understood, and then people say that it is a pseudoscience. The science which one does not understand is called a pseudoscience. Correct?
Yes, sir.
that is what is 21st century.
Correct.
And for some people, yoga is also pseudoscience. For some people, our scriptures are also pseudoscience. But no,
Yes.
when we read in detail, we come to know that these things are highly scientific.
Correct.
Now, slowly, people are understanding our electromagnetic waves, and then they are understanding that we leave a footprint of
Correct.
waves and energies, and those can be traced.
Yes.
Those can be traced in the universe. So there are lots of things which we are not understanding right now, but unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, our ancestors had understood and they had put all these things in the scriptures, which over a period of time, yes, here I can definitely use the word unfortunately, we have lost the understandings.
Correct.
We have lost the science behind it, which we are trying to revive. And thank you very much, all of you, for being a part of it, being consistent in the chanting, in revealing the meaning, and sharing it with near and dear ones. Now we'll go to the 9th one.
Yeah. So nice look. I am chanting nice look
Yeah.
also.
Yeah, it is similar. Yeah.
Shotram chakshum sparshanancha rasanam granamevacha adhishtaya manaschayam vihayanupasevate. The ear, eye, and touch, taste and smell, taking support of these and the mind, the soul enjoys the sense objects. Sri Krishna continues explaining how the Jivatma, the individual soul, takes up a human body to carry out its transaction with Prakriti. We can use the wonderful Vedantic text Drigdrishya Viveka, or the discrimination of the seer and the seen. For example, this process in a little more detail. To examine this process in a little more detail, it explains with mathematical precision how the eternal essence begins to think of itself as a finite human entity. There are two main players in this process. One is the eternal essence, which is of the nature of the finite awareness and the existence, explained in detail in the second chapter. The second player is avidya or ignorance, which exists in the realm of illusory maya. After the end of its journey in one body, the Jivatma travels with the mind and senses, the upadhi, in other words, in search of another physical body. When the ego aspect of the upadhi associates itself with a tiny physical body inside a womb, based on the desires it wants to exhaust, it develops the notion, I am this body. It now begins to use the body to transact with the world. The human nose, for instance, is an inert object, but due to the association of the ego with the body, we think that the physical human nose is doing the smelling. The ego then uses the mind to generate the notion, I know that this smell is that of a rose. This finally leads the ego to generate the notion, this smell is pleasant, it makes me happy. In this way, the Jivatma gives up its power of reality, knowledge, and happiness to the ego. The ego becomes the doer and the experiencer of the world. It has to constantly transact with the world in order to chase sense objects for happiness. It forgets the fact that it was happy to begin with. It gives reality to the domain of the Prakriti, the three gunas, the visible and the so-called tangible world. The Ramacharita Manas describes this mix-up as Jada Chetan ki Granthi, or the knot between the awareness and the inertness. Harihi Om Tatsat, Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you very much. Very beautiful examples shared by Ravi Shankar ji. I think the now 10th person is Bhanumati ji. Bhanumati ji.
Dr. Ji.
Oh,
Namaste.
you are here. I was about to take out your.
Yeah, I am successfully
Please.
joined.
Please, Amma, please enlighten us. Yeah.
Atha Purushottam Yogo Nama Panchadashodhyayah. Shloka number 10 I am chanting.
Yeah.
Utkramantam stitam vapi bunjanam va gunamitam vimudana pashyanti gnana chakshusha. Are you able to hear me, sir?
Yeah.
उत्क्रामंतम, उत्क्रमण करते हुए को अर्थात पहले प्राप्त किए शरीर को छोड़कर जाते हुए को अथवा शरीर में स्थित रहते हुए को या शब्दादि विषयों का भोग करते हुए को या सुख दुख मोह आदि गुणों से युक्त हुए को भी, यानी इस प्रकार अत्यंत दर्शन गोचर होते हुए भी इस आत्मा को मूढ़ लोग, जो कि दृष्ट और अदृष्ट विषय भोगों की लालसा के बल से चित्त आकृष्ट हो जाने के कारण अनेक प्रकार से मोहित हो रहे हैं। अन्य वस्तुओं को देख पाते हैं किंतु अज्ञान के कारण से आत्मा को नहीं। सा अज्ञानी सर्वदा बहिमुखासक्त तथा विषयासक्त रहता है, किंतु जो प्रमाण जनित ज्ञान नेत्रों से युक्त है अर्थात विवेक दृष्टि वाला है, वे आत्मा को यानी परमात्मा को देख पाते हैं। हरि ओम तत्सत।
Very nice, very beautiful, short and sweet explanation. Here we will pause and here we will contemplate for the day. For the whole rest of the week, we will contemplate on Purushottam. In short, if I want to give you the idea of what this whole thing is going on in these 10 shlokas, what is going on, we have to find out what we exactly are. And somewhere we are coming up with the idea of Atma, and we are coming up with the idea of manas. We are coming up with the idea of panchendriyas. So panchendriya hardware is there in this body, but how this panchendriyas are going to work, that is software, and that software is in our three gunas, in our gunas, which are like, it's like this computer laptop comes, it comes default with Windows operating system. So Windows works in a particular manner, right? Hardware is there, but Windows is the software which is coming with it, and that is how you have to work. Suppose you have been working on Apple iOS or Mac, then that Apple software is slightly different. At that time, there are people, oh no, I don't know this. This is Windows. I use Apple, and some kind of talk you would have heard if you are a software person. That is what exactly is happening. We have hardware. Almost everything is similar in all the things, but software changes, and when software changes, the manifestations also change. So hardware are the indriyas are there in the body, but how the indriyas will be utilized, that is decided by the gunas, or that is decided by the software. Okay, and that software is being carried with the jivatma from one body to another, and that memory of the previous update, memory of the previous janma will be always be there whenever the installation is happening in the new hardware. I hope I am making sense to all of you, and please try to understand. And that is where you will see, from generation after generations, the human race keeps on committing the same mistake again and again, same mistake. What mistake your father would have done, same mistake you will be doing. What mistake your grandfather would have done, your father would have done. It would have continued. Not only this, just in family, you see nations also will be committing the same mistakes. Leaders also will be committing the same mistakes, because of the gunas flying from one body to another and carrying the same whatever negativities are there, they will be carrying those things. All these things can be upgraded, all these can be removed only through a proper antivirus, that is Gnana Chakshu. Those who have antivirus named as Gnana Chakshu or Gnana, correct Gnana, those people will be able to relieve themselves of all these bugs, all these viruses in the gunas. Okay. With that understanding, adopt Namaskara Mudra, Omkar followed by Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhage. Om Shanti Shanti. With your eyes closed, slowly inhale, arch your back, look up. Exhale, bend forward, touch your forehead to the ground, express gratitude to Mother Earth, Almighty, your parents and Guru. Slowly inhale and come up. With few blinks, you may open your eyes. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining in, for sharing whatever knowledge you have gathered, whatever knowledge you have read, and whatever you are experiencing. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you, sir. Good night. Shubharatri.
Shubharatri. Thank you very much.
Dhanyawada, Dr. Shubharatri.
Shloka number 11 to 20. One of you can fly the message in the group. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Shubharatri, Sabhi ko.
Shubharatri. Shubharatri. Shubharatri.
Shubharatri, Namaskaram.